There's a Scooby Doo game on PS1? Jinkies! Yes, this is my first time reviewing anything Scooby-Doo related.
Like I can't wait!
I'll be honest here, and I'm half expecting some dislikes or negative comments in response to this. I have never been a Scooby-Doo fan. I find it kind of camp and corny, and I guess that's maybe part of the appeal, but it's just not my thing, I'm sorry.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! I can't stand it!
Regardless, since this game is based on a straight-to-video Scooby-Doo movie, I decided to take a look at it, and it's not too bad, I guess. This movie sees the gang trapped in a video game while chasing after an evil virus. And the only way out is to locate the Scooby snacks in each level. Knowing the premise, a video game based on such a movie seems a logical move. But the question remains, is this game a Scooby snack or a steaming pile of Scrappy-Doo? The game takes place in a game.
We're the stars of our very own video game.
How very meta. And it sees you alternate between Scooby and Shaggy as you explore various virtual worlds in pursuance of the Phantom virus.
You can run, but you'll never escape. This is my game now.
Shaggy and Scooby basically control exactly the same. Aside from different animations, there really isn't much variety. Each world consists of 3 levels, the third of which is always a boss level. You have to complete the levels in order, and the levels themselves are incredibly linear. It simply sees you having to make it from one end of the level to the other, collecting Scooby snacks along the way. If you collect several snacks in succession, the points you earn from them are multiplied. If you amass more than 100 points, you earn an extra life. Extra lives can also be earned by collecting these round tokens. Scooby's are gold in colour, while Shaggy's are green for some reason. And considering how tough the game becomes in its later stages, these aren't nearly as prolific as I'd have liked. I say that, there are actually quite a lot of them, but most often they stick these things in the most ridiculous locations that ironically require you to risk your own life to retrieve. No way in hell am I getting that thing! I'll take my chances with the lives I have, thank you very much. Fortunately, there are these dog tags dotted around the levels, and running into these gives you a checkpoint. Ah! Are you trying to give me a heart attack? The game begins in Japan.
It looks like you've landed in Japan.
They never actually explain why, so I guess we'll just go along with it. This is actually based on a very brief and frankly forgettable part of the movie, but if you haven't seen it, well, I can honestly understand the confusion. When you start the game, you find you have a wireless communication system. When prompted, pressing triangle lets you receive helpful hints from your friends.
Picking up more than one Scooby snack in a row will give you extra bonus points.
Now, initially, I figured this was just going to be for the tutorial, but oh my life, these guys just don't shut up.
Watch out for those flames, Scooby, or you'll get broiled.
All the way through the game, they constantly talk to you to explain so many things that just don't need explaining. Every few minutes, this radio goes off and... Will you just leave me alone?
Scooby, when you come to large gaps in the path, be sure to use the X button to jump over them.
Yes, Daphne, I know how to fucking jump, okay? I want to be alone. Maybe you wouldn't have to keep checking up on me all the time if you hadn't sent a dog to do your dirty work. I guess I can't complain too much. You don't have to listen to them. The radio messages are thankfully optional. I mean, at the very least, it gives this game some character and charm.
Watch out for those ninjas, Scooby. They look mean.
No problem.
Combat is ridiculously easy and awkward as hell at the same time. Your most prominent means of attack is hurling cream pies at enemies, and they just kind of evaporate. Just like that. Your attacks don't change throughout the game. Every enemy can be vanquished with a mere pie to the face. It's easy enough, but aiming the pie is another matter. Despite a target marker appearing on screen, at times it's extremely hard to tell precisely which way Scooby is facing. Oh, but things get a little more challenging when it comes to fighting the bosses, who require a whopping 3 pies to the face. And yes, this goes for every single one. They never try and spice things up a little by having a boss who requires 4 pies to the face. It's always 3, even the final boss. Yeah, they're probably not as formidable as you were expecting. But at the very least, every boss has its own unique attacks, so we'll talk about them when we come to them. In the meantime, just take a look at these enemies. They are genuinely pathetic. And some of them are downright hilarious.
Keep on your toes, Scooby. You don't know karate, but those guys sure do.
Yeah, be careful, Scooby. They know karate. Let's take a look at some of their karate, shall we? Now, I don't know what that is, but it sure as hell ain't karate. Seriously, what is this? It just looks like they're walking. Very painfully. If you ever run out of pies, you can use a trusty butt bounce on enemies, and they promptly disappear. I mean, who could blame them? If a complete stranger started thrusting their bum at me in public, I'd likely do the same. You can also use the butt bounce to break objects to find extra pies for throwing, and also burgers, which refill your health. Oh yeah, and the noises these guys make when they collect things are ridiculous. Some variation would be nice. The more items you collect, the more points you get at the end of a level. Well, that noise isn't irritating as hell at all. By holding the circle button, you can crouch and crawl underneath certain dangers, such as these spears. Although I personally found it hard to tell exactly where these spears were, and how close I was to them. It would have helped a great deal if they'd have added a shadow underneath them or something. Aha! I've discovered his weakness! A small box! I'm gonna get you! I'm gonna get you! Like this area generally, the boss of this area is easy but awkward. You need to avoid his attacks and then throw a pie at him. By the time I realized he was sending flames my way, Scooby moved far too slowly to avoid them. All the same, despite the fact that I was clearly not doing well, I still managed to beat him. How weak is your armor, man? Seriously! Anyway, we then take control of Shaggy at the Colosseum in Rome, one of the more memorable locations from the movie. That sound is going to get annoying, isn't it? I can tell. Also, why is he making eating noises when he collects them? He's not supposed to be eating our ammo. Someone stop him! He's eating the supplies! Anyway, it was at this point I realized just how bad the jump is. Both Shaggy and Scooby have a double jump, and it looks simple enough, but trust me, it's so hard to judge how far they'll jump. Yikes! The issue isn't just the slow, long jump itself, but also that it's hard to tell how far you are from the next platform.
Those skeletons don't look so friendly, Shaggy. I bet they just hate a pie in their face.
Yes, thank you, Daphne, for once again pointing out the bleeding obvious. The only means of attack besides the butt bounce is to throw pies. I think I can work it out.
Shaggy, that skeleton gladiator's coming after you.
Before too long, we reach a chase section. During which Shaggy runs as fast as he can. As fast as he can. Can he hear me? This is as fast as you can run? Really? Fortunately for us, there are some ruins blocking the path of the cart. And he manages to hit every single one of them. I also love how this ends. The horse and cart just get stuck between two pillars, but it's still running. That is one determined horse. Don't wanna maybe get out the cart and follow me? I don't think your current strategy is working, my friend. Anyway, we then enter the Colosseum.
Does this game ever end?
Shaggy, believe me, I get it, but come on, dude, we're on like level 5. Keep it together, man. This is one of several locations in the game where it can sometimes be hard to tell whether there's a shadow in front of you or a massive deadly pitfall. Yay! What a mistake to make. The boss of this area is a lion. First, we need to avoid the spears hurled at you by the skeleton warriors. Then the lion will appear. All you need to do is avoid its pouncing attack, and as soon as it tires itself out, you can throw a pie at it. This level is fairly easy, although they do pull a nasty trick on you. Immediately after you've defeated the lion, the warriors suddenly reappear without warning and spear you. Oh, come on, how is that fair? Way to lure me into a false sense of security.
Like, check this out. I'm Super Shag.
I'm sure you are a Super Shag, although I didn't really wish to know that. Don't want to rethink that superhero name? Alright then. We then go to the Arctic.
Like it's super cold in here.
No, Scooby Doo. And it's painfully bright in these parts. The enemies are sometimes hard to distinguish against the snow.
Those baby seals may look cute, Shaggy, but they throw a mean snowball.
What? What baby seals? Where? Aha! Found you! You sneaky bastard!
Whoa, Shaggy! Be careful! Those icy surfaces can be slippery.
Yeah!
That was an interesting reply. I was expecting something more like, thank you for warning me, Fred. But you know what? That's good too. And if you thought that was amusing, just wait till you see this. Alright then. I mean, I was expecting him to be slipping and a sliding, but I sure as hell wasn't expecting that. Hey, wait, I missed some Scooby snacks. I want to go back. Okay, well, never mind then.
Wow! Yeah!
The next level is a really annoying tobogganing level, in which you need to avoid all the oncoming penguins. An advantage of the penguins riding in front of you is that you can actually use them as a shield to block the other penguins. The drawback is that I feel like I spent most of this level crammed up a penguin's ass. Lovely view! Oh, and making this jump was a nightmare. It's harder than it looks making Shaggy slide in a straight line. As you can just about see, the boss of this area is the Phantom Virus himself, riding on a polar bear.
You again. Well, stick around, because this is just getting fun.
I mean, for what's meant to be a kid's game, it's about bloody time, to be honest. And I have to say, the polar bears seemed to behave completely normally at first, and then partway into the battle, this started happening. Okay then, I really was not expecting that move, but alright. What is he, part bear, part ceiling fan? Anyway, despite the flailing around on the ice, this fight is nothing too unbearable. Oh, come on, you must have seen that pun coming. Okay, so next we take control of Scooby again as we journey through a prehistoric jungle. Here we find some dinosaurs just casually wandering around. Although they don't seem to be getting very far. Going on a nice long walk then. I'm also somewhat confused by these dinosaurs. They seem to be an amalgamation of several dinosaurs. Like, this one looks like a Triceratops from the front, but it seems to have the tail of a Stegosaurus. It's like a weird dinosaur hybrid. Yes, I'm aware I'm complaining about factual inaccuracies in a game about a pie-throwing cartoon dog, but I don't care, okay? Research is everything. These levels are some of the worst for platforming. Firstly, there's a swamp you need to cross by hopping across the crocodiles. And a little later on, there's a rickety bridge with missing planks. And trust me, jumping across the gaps is a nightmare. Come on, almost there. No! Bad dog! The boss of this area is a big purple dinosaur. Barney's a little different to how I remembered him.
I love you, you love me.
As usual, this boss can be defeated with just 3 cream pies. The only time I encountered any issues was in the later stages of the fight, when the dinosaur would perform a move with his tail that would stun Scooby, leaving him unable to move. Fortunately, you can avoid it by jumping while the ground shakes. Overall, this was simple enough to beat.
And remember, I love you.
As soon as we've eliminated Barney, to the relief of, I imagine, everybody on the planet, we head off to the city.
Okay, Shaggy, time for a little fun.
I assume you're using the term fun very loosely, Velma. I thought as much. Indeed, this level sees Shaggy skateboarding, and it's frankly horrible. Trust me, this is a lot more awkward to control than it looks. Eventually, we ditch the skateboard and walk instead, at which moment we encounter some other skateboarders with some unusually softly spoken voice acting.
Get out of my way.
What? Did someone else hear that? Or was it just the wind? We also encounter some breakdancers, and, is he alright?
Getting dizzy.
Next, we have some kind of stealth level. Yeah, because that's just what we need in this game. Shaggy isn't exactly the most delicate of characters to control, is he? Fortunately, it's not too hard on you if you wind up activating the security cameras. You don't have to start over or anything, you simply get hurt. And the security guards here are as useless as you'd expect.
Get out of here.
I mean, my viewers will know just how pathetic I think the majority of security guards are in these games, but these guys possibly even deserve the title of worst security guards I've ever met.
Get out of here.
Oh, okay, see you then. That was close, I guess? I mean, I was gonna throw a pie at him, but it's easier to just run away, or take a leisurely stroll away anyway. The worst parts of this level take place along a conveyor belt, and you need to jump and duck to avoid the blockages in your path. The boss of this area is the Funland robot, whoever that is. I was hoping the movie would enlighten me, but nope, I guess not. After doing some research, if watching cartoons counts as research, I discovered that the Funland robot references an old Scooby Doo episode. Which is kinda cool, I guess, even if it has nothing to do with the game's narrative whatsoever. Here you have to keep on your toes as you're standing on a moving conveyor belt that repeatedly changes directions. The robot will hit the switches around the room to drop bombs on the belt. Every time he hits a switch, he becomes vulnerable and you can pie him. I actually don't know why I'm explaining all the boss fights by this point. They're practically all the bloody same. Our next level takes us to ancient Egypt, where we encounter...
Bats!
and surprisingly noisy bats at that. Huh? What is that? Bats? Or maracas? And despite the many hazards, there's nothing quite as irritating as Scooby's jump. I'm not kidding, I failed so much of the platforming in this level that I was actually met with a game over screen at one point. Other enemies here include mummies and statues of Anubis. Avert your eyes!
Not a nudist, Anubis. It's a statue of Anubis.
That gag never gets old. I think you might want to think about employing another strategy. Whatever you're doing now, it's it's not working. Anyway, the boss here is once again the Phantom Virus.
Ruh-roh! Phantom Virus!
This time he's sitting on a camel behind a magic barrier. We need to knock all the mummies off the edge of the platform with our pies. This makes the barrier disappear long enough for us to throw a pie at the Phantom Virus. And wow, is this annoying! Scooby and the mummies move so slowly, and they make this weird groaning sound every time they're hit. Also, the more mummies that drop from the ceiling, the worse it is for them, as they keep bumping into each other and knocking themselves over the edge. Thanks for your help, guys. The final area is the amusement park. Oh, yay! But as you might expect, it's anything but amusing. Darn it. I got my hopes up too. Quite the contrary. This is basically everything you hate about the game condensed into one location. There's yet more horrible platforming and an incredibly dark haunted house.
It sure is dark in there, Scooby. Watch your step and look out for holes.
Maybe I would if I could fucking see them, Daphne. The next level sees us explore a hedge maze, and believe me, it's no bed of roses. Well, actually it is. Giant killer roses, in fact. That's an interesting choice of enemy. And they aren't the only thorn in my side in this level. Here we also get to use catapults to project us over large gaps. And wow, this is also annoying. There are sections towards the end where you need to land on several catapults in a row. The drawback is that some of the catapults point backwards, and you don't see them until you're practically on top of them. Even by these later stages, this game keeps finding new ways to piss me off. The final boss fight is against, guess who? The Phantom Virus. And this is incredibly frustrating. Scooby is simply too slow to avoid his attacks, unless you're extremely lucky. Wow, that's one solid evil laugh. But it's not quite on the same level as... Phantom Virus was split into 3 of himself.
I'm over here.
If you manage to splat him with a pie, the 3 of him will rejoin to form a giant version of himself. Now, for me, this was the biggest issue I encountered.
Well, we tried.
Giant Phantom's attacks are far too awkward to avoid. I swear it's impossible to avoid them all. The only way I could eventually win this was by trying not to get hurt too much in the earlier stages of the level, which is difficult enough in itself. As soon as Scooby knocks him down to size, we return to the central area.
I never expected you to be such good players.
Funny that. I never expected it to be such a bad game. The Phantom Virus threatens to attack us again, but fortunately Fred and Daphne managed to trap him in their wireless radio. Which is actually more logical than how they defeated the virus in the movie, by just grabbing another box of Scooby snacks. Yeah, it was a little anticlimactic.
We looked all over the place for a trap, but we couldn't find anything that would work.
And then I remembered that this system has virus protection software on it.
I love how stilted everything is. The lengthy pauses make it feel like some kind of terrible stage performance. Do you guys need a prompt or something?
Huh?
Okay, I'll be honest, this is actually one of the worst things I've ever played. It's not quite at the level of Shrek Treasure Hunt, but it's definitely worse than Peter Pan, and that takes some beating. On the positive side, Scooby-Doo fans may appreciate it. The voiceovers and character interactions do give the game some life and energy, but the gameplay itself is frustrating and clunky. If you're a Scooby fan, it might be worth a look, but otherwise it's really not worth your time.
Scooby Dooby Doo, Scooby Dooby don't, more like. Am I right?
And remember, I love you.